Hey everyone, it's Norm from Tested here at Wonderfest in Louisville, Kentucky. Once again with Jason Eaton.
Hello!
Jason, today we're talking about your studio scale projects.
Ta-da.
You're kind of famous for your studio scale models, among other things.
Yeah.
You brought some that are a little bit deconstructed.
Well, in progress
In
and
various states of construction.
Yeah,
Deconstruction,
yes,
we'll call
yes,
it.
yes, yeah, that's perfect.
This is incredible. We're going to get to this, don't worry. But let's start with the transport.
Oh, the
here.
Rebel transport.
Okay.
Yeah, there's very few subject matters, our little white whale kind of, situations that we don't understand still just because we've been doing this for so long and there is reference. The Rebel transport's one of those models that, people try to hit it and it doesn't land for whatever reason. And it's because there's not enough resource.
You're looking for that challenge. You kind of solved the X-Wing a little bit, and now...
I actually looked back at when I started really wanting to make one of these, and my friend Alan had made some vacuum form shells, which turns out surprisingly close. But, if you look at a photograph and interpret it incorrectly, and you're off by even like 1/8 of an inch, that can snowball with this kind of stuff because it all interlocks so closely. So...
And especially compound shapes. I mean, it sounds like as a community, if there are a dedicated group of people who are working on this, maybe they're all working off the same buck that someone sculpted years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. And the way this stacks, it's like a 3D puzzle, which a lot like there's a group that made a Slave One, and it took them years. They eventually got there and made an amazing replica, but what a challenge, because you're just stacking stuff on stuff in a bowl, and this is a very similar situation.
Okay, let's talk about the puzzle pieces and also your approach to construction and reinforcement.
Yeah,
because it's a rare chance of seeing the inside of one of your models.
Yeah, and it's a rare chance to see kind of how they start, because if there was photography taken at this stage of the original build, we've never seen it. So it's been a long time coming to suss out exactly where stuff lands. I had been given a couple assets from guys that worked on the movie that really helped. Once I know that I can get like 95% with the shape, that last 5%, if it doesn't get hit, it's never gonna be perfect. So that's enough for me to green light it in my brain. So we had
a chance to build it again, a V2.
Yeah. This is almost a kick the tires build, but it's so expensive to pull this off that it's like, oh God, I hope I get it right, because I kind of don't want to make another one.
Okay. All right, so all supported by this post in the middle.
Yeah, it will, or the side mount.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So it's this clam shell form. They called it the tuna ship because it looked like a tuna roll. So we've nicknamed it Big Tuna in our head. And then there's the two side plates that will ride along here that sort of form that classic transport shape. And then it's just, building things up. Having a couple really good clear pictures of an area is key. This model has changed over the years. This is a front mount cover, so I haven't glued any of this down yet.
Can we take a look at this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is your kind of classic Star Wars, the side of a Star Destroyer, very dense.
Just lots
fashion.
of, the usual suspects as far as donors, with a couple surprises, sort of just stacked in a pleasing way.
But this is a defined form that you need to meet.
Yeah. And once you sort of know that base, it's much easier to get the lay of the land with a lot of other stuff.
Okay.
And actually, this has been divorced from the model since '79. That part was sitting in the archives with a tag, but they didn't know exactly where it went. And we were like, hey, that's the mount cover. So I'm hoping it'll get, reunited with its buddy. And in some photography, most of the photography, you're going to see this hole, and this should have been in there. And there's actually a couple pictures where they put it in, backwards or whatever. And for me, I just put magnets on here so it, just sort of clicks in.
That in itself already,
it's a little model in itself.
Yes, exactly.
And sometimes when you're working on this and it's a slog, it's nice to take a break and make a sub-assembly because you feel like you've really accomplished something. Like this madness.
Right, in the back, similar idea.
Yeah, my friends Craig and Ed are these master part ideas, and Hiroshi's also in on it now too. And Jeff Garten, like there's just this crew of guys that just know the kit so intimately that a lot of the times they can see a part go. Like I'll know it's a 1/700 ship, they'll know what ship it is.
And that's what like this side panel is when this layout is
and
precise to a T.
And all of this, figuring that out like blows my mind that we can do that as a team, that they can do it and then I get to build it, honestly. And these little landing pads, those have been gone forever too. So just finally having that one photo where you're like, it's high enough resolution that you say, oh, that's from the Flak kid. Duh. Like it's been staring us in the face, but until you like know, like that it has that little extra detail that clues you in on what it is. And it's a rush. I mean, it's silly, but it's like a real sense of accomplishment.
I look at this, it's one color, it's primed. You look at it, you see real kit.
Yeah.
I did 3D model that.
Yeah.
This had the kit, still unknown.
And when you're watching a movie and the ship goes by, I can know exactly how big the miniature is because like despite my best efforts to suspend reality, I'm like, that's a Leopold part,
The vision of a master builder.
Yeah.
Okay, moving out from there, these sub-assemblies, I want to talk about these panels.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where you have some compound curves, and you're also using a nibbler and...
Well, okay, so you would think that's what they did originally, but we had a 3D sort of work in progress going, and at some point I thought to myself, everybody's going to want to build this. I don't want to like walk other people through something that's going to take forever anyway. It's like not fair to anyone. So if I get a shape done that's watertight, I can get it grown, and I got it grown in China in nylon as a sort of like, initially it was just sort of a test, bed to make sure parts were fitting the way I was hoping they were fitting. And this is all laser cut acrylic I did in the shop. And then we thought, let's just mold and cast the shell for anybody that wants to, because I got like 5 or 6 friends that want us to make one. So it's oddly enough going to be, a resin form. So, but when you flip it over, that's where it gets exciting.
Oh, that is exciting.
And then that
what a reveal.
Yeah. So,
wow. And so one 3D modeled piece, that's how you get the precision for the curves, and then
just gets you really close. And if you wanna be a hero and do it in styrene, here's your guide.
Right.
You can go from there. I just need to take a Dremel and sort of skim along here and just make it look like it's thinner.
So originally that piece would have been
Just
styrene and then glued there, but in a curve, and like you're, how much of that manual do you want to do at this point?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So at what stage of completion is this shuttle?
That's hard to say because this part takes a really long time, and then you'll get into a point where you're just stacking containers.
Yeah.
30-40% maybe?
Okay,
I don't know. Yeah. I hesitate to say. When I'm making something, it's either I feel like it's taking forever or I feel like it's done in a flash. Like I have a weird relationship with time when I'm sitting at the bench for some reason. But farther than I thought I could get in a week with building this, so I don't know, a couple months maybe.
And a project
6
with
months.
still unknowns, so the process of discovery is absolutely a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, can't wait to see when that's finished. But let's move on to, is this an expression of your frustration, of anger? You just wanted to destroy something beautiful?
This is me with somehow an extra set of parts to make a TIE fighter, set of castings, and some cool shade material that was damaged and wouldn't be fit for any other use. And I thought, okay. I also like to be sort of, a little bit of a brat about this stuff. And I'm like, nobody's ever made the damaged TIE because this material now is so rare and expensive that to mash it up is almost, like insulting.
Yes.
But because it was already sort of messed up a little bit, I'm like, that's a good use for that.
So as a studio scale TIE, was there ever a model that they used for production that had this damage?
This is this is pretty much a replica of something exactly that was on set. Yeah, this is from Empire.
Yep.
There's photos of Ken Ralston with a hammer, like either wailing away on this or pretending to. Sometimes those photos aren't exactly what happened, but it kind of looks like he's just smacking it with a hammer. And this was the one that hit an asteroid and,
And you got the asteroid as well.
And I have the asteroid as well. I made a little asteroid accessory.
Ken had the luxury of going freeform, not having to adhere to anything other than the concept. You don't. You're trying to replicate what he did.
I'm looking at photos and trying to bend it as best as humanly possible to have the same.
That was my question. Your bends here are mimicking the bends on the studio scale?
As best I can, yeah. and you're limited by the reference, but you also, it's changing as it's on the set, so... Close, yeah. I mean, the model guy that's doing the same kind of stuff is going to see that and know that that's that one particular ship because they've seen that photo. Yeah.
And so this panel is structurally similar to on the clean side in terms of
identical, except these 2 wedges. This is aluminum foil that I painted black and not paper stock.
Yeah.
That was a little, that, and there's a couple wires that aren't on the original. That's a little bit of an extra, you know, bit of detail just to, because this has to hold up to scrutiny and not fly by at a million miles an hour. Yeah.
Are you painting it any differently on this side to accentuate some of
I
the
added
damage?
a little scorch. Yeah, a little bit of black, but I don't think the original had that. But again, in my head, I was like, it probably would have like some, you know, soot from space blast. If there's rust in space, there's probably soot in space, you know?
How many studio scale TIE fighters do you think you've made at this point?
3.
Okay.
This was the 3rd one. I'd never made an Empire one, too, and the wings are slightly different. There's some extra edging that they put on it. So that was kind of fun. I was like, oh, you know, like that's a good excuse to make the Empire wing. But yeah, it was.
So you're not quite sick of it yet?
No, I want to make a couple of New Hope ones. I'd love to have like Vader's wingman with the crumpled wing, a regular New Hope tie, and a Vader tie. That's a good tableau. Big.
The asymmetry of destruction is just so beautiful to see. Yeah.
It's fun. And then I made a blue pylon, stand for it, and I decided let's put it upside down because in the movie it's spinning and you never get to see the underside of the tie anyway. So that was another sort of way to differentiate it from the other ones I'd made.
Oh, you see the Dice Trek, the camera setup is at the Academy.
Yeah.
Through the summer. Oh,
yeah. My friend Sean's Falcon is there, and Gene Kazicki's X-wing is there.
that's what I was thinking. Like your models. I mean, they can't bring stuff from the archives necessarily, but your models.
Our community is
feel
well
so
represented. Yeah, it's
wonderful.
So good. It's so good. And Sean's Falcon is just like it's the A New Hope one, so that doesn't even exist anymore. So it's great for people to see that and feel that 76 magic a little bit. Yeah.
Jason, where can people follow your progress for your studio scale builds and other builds?
My website's jasoneatonstudio.com. All the photos of the stuff. Some of them are up. This'll be up a little bit. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being so generous with your time.
Thank you.
Sharing these models. Beautiful work as always.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching that video. I want to tell you about our demerit badges because we know that being a maker is a lifelong enterprise of trying new things and learning new skills, and it is also about repeatedly messing everything up. And we like to celebrate that because failure is not just an option, it is intrinsic to the creative process. And to that end, we have 3 new bundles of demerit badges right now on tested-store.com. We've got your Shop Tool Fails demerit badge bundle up here on top. Here in the middle, we have the Everyday Whoops demerit badge bundle. And at the bottom, we've got my favorite, the Shit Happens demerit badge bundle. You can get any one of these bundles, and we are considering offering a bundle of all 24, not those, of all 24 demerit badges we have released, but we're not sure what to call it. You have a suggestion? Put it in the comments.